Ever since my birth, I was deemed to be a genius compared to people my age. I had strong grasping powers, high intellect, and sharp memory. That sounds like a good thing, right? But my tragedy lied in the fact that I was an orphan. My orphanage director happened to be the most annoying person alive, and I was even denied basic education during my childhood. Thankfully, though, I used to sneak into his office to read books and educate myself. Still, I was so jealous of other kids who had a family supporting them. I longed for love and care. When I turned 7, a wealthy couple who did charity came to visit the orphanage. At that time, I was teaching one of the older kids there. Witnessing this shocked them, and they followed it up with the director. He excused us, and we were escorted quietly to our bunks. Later that day, the director looked oddly pleased and occasionally threw a smile my way. He then called me to his office. "A couple wants to adopt you, and they're coming tomorrow." "Really?" I squeaked in delight. I couldn't believe my ears. "Yes, so you better be ready and not embarrass me," he replied curtly. "At 10 a.m. tomorrow." I had a bad feeling seeing the sly grin on his face, but dropped it over my excitement. It was like a dream come true, since I had longed for a family and for a place to call home as long as I could remember. Next day, while I waited for my new parents with bated breath, the couple from the day before walked in. I greeted them with a shy smile, and they reciprocated, nodding back at me. The documents were attended to. "Did you bring the amount that we discussed?" asked the director. "Yes, we've also put in a little extra to really ensure that you won't open your mouth." The reply came. I realized then that the director had sold me. I had an itch in my brain to know what had enticed them to buy me. What could an orphan offer them? I found myself questioning while we drove home in their fancy car. "Ruby, you have to be mature, okay?" "Yes," I replied, somewhat enthusiastically. I was just happy that someone in this world wanted me. The couple, who were now my adoptive parents, were really well off, as could be seen from a glance into their lifestyle. They had a daughter, Leah, a thing of beauty even at a young age of 5. "Who is this? I asked you to get me a doll. She's ugly," Leah scowled. My parents always told me one thing before they sent me off to bed. "Ruby, you must remember you are here for Leah. She is your sister, so what you have is hers," they repeated. As time passed, it was visible even to the blind that I was barely considered a daughter of the family. They just needed me as a tool for Leah, who wasn't particularly good at anything. They wanted to show the world that Leah was a genius, while I worked in the shadows, creating for her a successful future over my tears and sweat. Leah was well aware of this fact, and she left no chance in reminding me. "You better work hard and do a good job on this assignment. Otherwise, I'll ask Dad to toss you back to where you came from," she warned with a sneer on her face. And as for me, even though I knew that they were using me, at the end of the day, it was true that they had rescued me. "I will do it well. I'm thankful to our parents," I answered back meekly. I was practically her ladder to everything, from doing homework and completing her assignments to writing her answers in the exams. Once I made the mistake of protesting. "I'm ready to tutor you, but cheating in the exams is crossing a line, Leah." "Shut up!" she yelled and threw a bowl of boiling hot water over me. I ended up with burns over my hand which hurt like hell. Our parents came rushing at the commotion, but, of course, their concern was Leah. "Baby, are you okay? You didn't get hurt, right?" "I just got angry, Mom," She's not listening to me. Dad, don't be mad at me, she whined. But you burned my hand, I replied as tears pricked my eyes. We'll just get this treated at the hospital. Mom's expression was stern when she leaned in. This'll be a lesson for you. Cooperate with Leah or things would be ugly. The accident left an ugly scar not only on my hand. I gave up hope in trying to do right and did whatever she needed from me. From that day, my pitiful situation was clear to me. I had to live in the shadows, be useful to Leah and help her succeed if I didn't want to be thrown back into the orphanage. But at least this day, I was getting the opportunity to explore my interests and educate myself, hoping that one day I'll find myself in the light. This continued, and soon we grew up to be high school students. We attended the same class as set up by our parents. In the meantime, I took an interest in chemistry and secretly started to make different products. It was fascinating, but I kept it hidden since it was one of the only things I didn't want Leah to take credit for. It was my dream. In classes, Leah often bullied me as usual. Loser, get me some water. Sure, I replied, being in no position to go against her. I did my best to stay out of trouble, keeping to myself, and only found my escape during chemistry classes when I could be around the chemicals that always smelled sweet to me. Leah's smugness couldn't be contained. She was popular for being the beauty with brains. Everyone fawned over her, except Brandon, the new guy who everyone obsessed over. Once at the cafeteria, I found someone taking the seat across from me, and to my utter shock, it was Brandon. He's so handsome. I couldn't stop myself from thinking that. Hey, I think this is yours. He waved a sheet, and as soon as I saw the formula on it, panic rose in my throat. It was for one of my products. Oh, shoot, I gasped. Sorry about this. Thanks, bye. But as I tried to take it from him, he lifted it above his head, making it impossible for me to reach it. Whoa, wait up. I still have so many questions for you. Why are you in such a hurry? He asked. What's there to talk about? I asked, embarrassed. I was scared that my secret would be out. But his eyes were persistent as he stared at me. Tell me your name, he whispered. It sent a shiver down my spine. Ruby? He smiled as he handed the sheet over. Interesting name. But it was too late as Leah stormed over to the table, shooting daggers at me. What is with you, nerd? Why are you troubling Brandon? Do you have a death wish? She poured the contents of her glass over me, and I just let her. Everyone laughed and did nothing. No one would go against her. Are you crazy, Leah? I heard Brandon ask, shock apparent on his face. He offered me his handkerchief as he stood to confront her. How does talking to her matter to you? He questioned. You're arguing with me for her? Oh, please, she yelled back before walking away. She shrieked once we reached home. What did you do, you ugly witch? Why would Brandon be interested in you? I did nothing. He just returned my stuff, that's all, I responded. Don't you dare lie to me, or you'll be in big trouble, she warned, before she slammed her door at my face. Unfortunately, my bad luck didn't stop there, as Brandon followed me around at school, and Leah continued to glare at me. I beg you to leave me alone. Enough is enough, I begged him one day. Why? He asked. Leah is bullying me because of you, so I need you to back off. I want us to be friends. He spoke with sincerity. I enjoy chemistry too, and your product wowed me. If Leah is a problem, I will talk to her for you. Don't refuse me. I blushed at his words. Someone wanted to be my friend. Not Leah's. Mine. Sorry, but you can't trouble Leah. We have to leave her alone. Then, how about we meet in secret? He proposed. The offer was enticing enough that I had to agree. So from then on, a friendship blossomed between me and Brandon. It was easy being with him as we shared the same hobbies, and he cheered me on, constantly lifting my confidence. But occasionally, we would stare at each other for longer than needed, or our hands would linger over the others. Leah, on the other hand, was starting to get suspicious, randomly barging into my room and going through my things, but not finding anything to hold over me. Our school announced one day that it was holding the Makeup Revolution contest, sponsored by one of the top brands. It was a great opportunity that left me deliberating if I should participate or not. You have to participate, Ruby. Please, show everyone your real self, encouraged Brandon as he waved the application form in my face. Stop that. Give it to me. I smiled back at him and was greeted with a tight hug in return. I prepared day and night for the contest, even with Leah's constant pestering. Hey, loser! I'm entering the makeup contest, so don't get any funny ideas, okay? She mocked, but I kept my head down, focusing on my work. The day of the contest finally arrived, and as I nervously waited for my turn, I was shocked to see Leah dressed up for the occasion in a lab coat and high heels. What is she going to perform? I didn't help her around this time, I wondered. But her plan became clear to me when she produced a familiar-looking notepad from her pocket. I hoped and prayed as I searched through my bag, but my suspicions were true. She had stolen my notepad. I was in a state of shock, furious at her, when suddenly there was a sudden boom, followed by a loud hooting from the audience. As I peeked through the curtain, I saw Leah standing there covered in dust and soot. She coughed from all the smoke, while her hair resembled a bird's nest. The judges sighed and whispered, and she ran out of the building, shrieking to herself. This reminded me that the formula for the lotion I prepared was written only half on paper, and I had memorized the rest of it. Next contestant, please, announced the anchor. With a thumping heart, I went up on stage. I made up the lotion perfectly, having the formula memorized as I had made it multiple times. I applied it on the burn scar that Leah had given me. It instantly lightened, and the audience and judges awed and applauded, seeing it work. Wait up. Why is the first half of the formula similar to the previous contestant? Asked one of the judges. For the first time, I was done being in the shadows. I didn't want Leah to take credit for my dreams. So I revealed everything, and as I finished, my voice quivering, I saw my parents pale as the media surrounded them. Over time, evidence was collected, and the principal took strict action against Leah and expelled her. I won the competition, and the judges were so impressed by me that I was even offered a placement in their company after I graduated. Things were really turning around, and I realized how Brandon was right. I had found my confidence because of him. I asked him out to our favorite coffee spot where we often met up. He ran over to me, congratulating me as he handed me a bouquet. Aw, you scented these yourself, right? I exclaimed, remembering that he had been working on the formula. He nodded, and our eyes met again. I leaned in to kiss him. I like you, Brandon. Will you go out with me? You're taking the reins this time, huh? He asked, as he raised his eyebrows and kissed me back. Yes, no more living in the shadows. I had found my light.